So, the original Good Burger is one of my favorite movies of all time. I probably rented that movie more times than I could count. Uh, Pretty sure we went to go see it in the theaters when I was 5. I was born in 92, came out in 97. Keenan and Kel were awesome. They were kind of my idols. And then I found out that Kel became a Christ follower, and I was just over the moon about it. And it was like, this is fantastic. And Keenan had a really good career with Saturday Night Live and most of his endeavors. So when they announced Good Burger 2, I was skeptical. I actually got this is a DVD copy of Good Burger that I bought sometime in the 2010s, I want to say. I either bought it when Blockbuster was going out, so possibly even before the year 2010, or I got it at Suncoast Movies. One or the other, I can't remember, but I believe this is actually a 2003 Good Burger DVD copy. I mean, it's got the beautiful cover art. I want this on a poster with the classic Nickelodeon Splat logo. Oh, man. Old Nickelodeon was so amazing, dude. So anyways, I was worried about Good Burger 2, and I think a lot of people were worried because it's been 26 years at least since they released the original, and a lot has changed since 1997. A whole lot has changed. The ideal window for making a sequel to Good Burger would have been from, I want to say, 2000 to maybe 2005. But waiting until 2023 was a stretch. Remember they did a Good Burger sequel book? Does anybody remember that? That was a thing. That was the closest we were ever going to get, and it wasn't very good. I'm pretty sure I bought it. It wasn't very good. But, yeah, so here we are, Good Burger 2. Without going into any spoilers, do I think it's a good movie? Do I think it's a bad movie? I think, as a fan of the original, it is serviceable. It's okay. It's just okay. If I had to go and just give it a rating, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. That'd be generous. It was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It has its moments where it's kind of like, oh yeah, that's where they're going. But it did have moments that made me laugh. I didn't think that a lot of the moments outside of Keenan and Kel would make me laugh, but they had a couple. Most of the stuff that was funny came from Keenan and Kel, and that's pretty much what I was anticipating. There's a lot of nice references to the old movies, and unfortunately, a lot of celebrity cameos that were just kind of like, you know, that's celebrity in 2023. You can tell they're kind of trying to make this young and old generation's Good Burger and blend the two together. Now, one thing I thought they were going to do, I thought they were going to try to recreate a lot of scenes from the original movie shot for shot, and they didn't. It looks like they got the original Good Burger location that they used in the 97 movie, and they revamped it, or they dressed up a set to look just like it. I can't honestly tell. Somebody who knows, who lives in the area, would have to tell me if that's what they did. Because it does look a lot like the original. The interior is completely different, even though there's a lot of references, like they got the Good Shake machine and a classic style Coke machine. Like, that stuff is pretty on point in terms of interior design being mostly like the original. But and I wonder if they actually ran it as a restaurant, because it looks like a Good Burger always looked like the type of restaurant that I would love to go to at least once a week. Like, it would just be fantastic. But when they showed the exterior shot, because for a while they showed zoomed in towards the entrance, but the exterior shot, the shape of the roof looked almost identical to the original. So I don't honestly know. It's probably a different location, because I've seen pictures of that location, and I think it's a restaurant, but I don't know. Like, they dressed it up. I don't know if the owner just let them go in and do that, and they ran it as Good Burger for the production. I don't know. That would have been cool. I would have actually gone to California for that. I think that's how much I love Good Burger. That's just, oh, that's crazy. Anyways, but the movie itself was okay. I was concerned about some of the side characters. The original movie cast a lot of older teenagers working at Good Burger that were pretty much college students, whereas this movie seemed to cast actual teenagers, which makes sense. I mean, that's kind of this bog standard. You got teenagers working that's the typical job for teenagers, right? You go work BK, McDonald's, Wendy's, whatever. I don't see teenagers working those jobs anymore. I mostly see college age people and in some cases older people. The older people seem to be the best at it. But I mean, hey, that's more akin to what's expected in 2023 and what's been expected for years. So here's what it is. You can tell a lot of the characters were created to kind of mimic the old ones that they couldn't bring back. They got a kid who's a manager that kind of looks like Mr. Bailey, but he doesn't. And that's not something he probably wants to hear. You don't want to hear that you look like Dan Schneider in 2023. Oh, but anyways, yeah, and then you got just quirky employees is the name of the game with Good Burger, outside of Ed, of course. And then Ed's got a son who works there, and he's got a bunch of kids in the movie. Roxanne makes an appearance, and they kind of subvert your expectations with her. Carmen Electra still looks really good. She still looks really good. You know, I thought she would. I wasn't sure with her how she would turn out, but she looks and sounds great. And I thought her cameo would be a little bit more eye roll inducing, but it was very tactfully done. You know, it was. In terms of Ed and Dexter themselves, Keenan and Kel, love Ed. You know, Ed is pretty much the same as he was, although I feel like they kind of turned him up to 11. And I think that that's my issue with both of the characters. As much as I loved them in this movie, because I just love Keenan and Kel, it's just my bias. I'm willing to admit that I think that they turned their characters up to 11 for this movie. They kind of made them caricatures of what they were in the original, especially Dexter. Dexter, his whole, because the movie's basically about him, right? The movie basically centers around him. When you cut everything else out, it's really all about him. And they kind of take some of his more undesirable traits and turn them up to 11 in this movie. And they kind of make him seem like a scumbag, which he was at moments in the original, but not throughout the whole thing. And you're telling me that after 26 years, he is still, you know, he's still the worst aspects of himself? I have a problem with that. Obviously they did that for plot reasons, but I don't know. I don't like it. His whole introduction, his whole opening sequence just was kind of eye-roll inducing and predictable. They had a very predictable gag with him doing a presentation. Very predictable. I mean, insanely predictable. They used that as a vehicle for a celebrity cameo, and I just kind of, ugh. But there were a lot of moments when he finally sees Ed again. That's hilarious, even though they showed it in the trailer. But it plays out really good. I was surprised at how much I laughed in this movie. I wasn't thinking I was going to laugh that much, but I did. I even laughed at some of the stuff from the kids. I did. I wasn't expecting to. The kid who plays Ed's son that works, great. He's trying a little hard, but they gave him great stuff. They gave him one joke that I thought was hilarious. I didn't see it coming. It was a great visual gag. So, yeah, it had its moments, but is it better than the original? Oh, heck no. Oh, heck no. Are you kidding me? There was no way this thing was going to be better than the original. The best it could do is be kind of average, and that's really what it is. It's kind of average. I don't know if it's got the rewatchability of the original. It seems like they tuned up the mild language a little bit, because I know there was some in the original, but they tuned it up because it's on streaming now. It's not a kids movie. Both of these movies, the original and 2, are teenage movies. They're not kids movies, even though many of us saw them as kids. They were teenage movies because that's who they were aiming at. The kids who were watching all that were the same age as the cast, and they kind of aged up with them. So, but I think the best thing about this is the Good Burger aesthetics. The uniforms were on point. I love the Good Burger uniforms, the aesthetic, the way that the food looks. It's great. It's really great. There's just a lot of 2020 stuff they throw in because it's 2020s that just feel kind of stupid. And that's probably the most standout annoying part, is it's just like, hey, we're in the 2020s. Whereas 90s Good Burger didn't really reference 90s culture all that much, except for the celebrities. It really didn't reference a whole lot of 90s cultural things, except for maybe rollerblading and the celebrities. And that's all I can think of. It's been a while since I've sat down and watched the original and kind of combed through some of the scenery. But yeah, I mean, the best part of the movie for me was a combination of Keenan and Kel and the whole Good Burger aesthetic. I would eat if somebody started a franchise based off of that, licensing it from Paramount. I would eat there. I know Arby's has got their Good Burger meal. I've thought about checking that out, but I'm not a fan of burgers or strawberry shakes, so yeah, it is what it is. Curious about the sauce though, what they use for Ed's sauce. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that the movie actually did manage to have its moments. But I'm just gonna go ahead and say, if you loved this one as much as I do, this is still the gold standard. All right, this can't be beat. This can't be beat, and I don't think this movie ever stood a chance. I don't think Good Burger 2 ever stood a chance of topping this. This was already a movie that was niche. Many people have pointed this out. This was not a movie that when it released, it had good reception. It gained a cult following, which is why it generated interest. They did that Good Burger skit akin to All That on Jimmy Fallon, and that got the conversation going. That was a couple years ago now. And that was a great skit, by the way, which you should go watch, because if anything else, we shouldn't forget that Good Burger originated as a skit and All That, and it was great. It was a fantastic skit. I don't know if the new All That does it or not. I think maybe. I haven't seen much of the new All That except for some clips, and I wasn't overly impressed. I think that's why I was worried about this, because I felt like, okay, they're going to keep this in vein with the new All That. I'm surprised they didn't. I don't think they got any cast members from that. Maybe. I don't know who the cast members are. I'm 31 years old. It's not like I'm going out to watch new All That. I'm going to watch the old one that I grew up with. So, yeah. Yep. I thought it was a decent movie. I thought that all of this rambling to say, I thought Good Burger 2 was decent, and I think it's probably worth a watch if you've seen the original. You don't have Paramount Plus, just do a free trial, and then if you're not satisfied, just cancel or just cruise around Paramount Plus for old stuff, I guess. I wouldn't recommend keeping Paramount Plus because I don't think it's worth it, but yeah, I think if you love the original as much as I do, you owe it to yourself to at least experience some of the nostalgia, because there is some that's there that's authentic. I thought it would be a little bit cringy, but it's authentic. I feel like it's authentic enough. If you like Keenan and Kel, they haven't missed a beat. They really haven't, and I think that yeah, I think that the movie will probably do great. I think it's perfectly fine for its target audience. I think they might be a little lost if they haven't seen the original. They should watch the original before they watch this, because there's a lot of references to it. But it does stand on its own fairly well. It's just, I hate it when movies try to be a vehicle for pop culture, and Good Burger never felt like that. At least not to me. Maybe it was supposed to be in the original, and I just didn't pick up on it because I was so young. But over the years I've watched it, I've still never gotten the sense that, okay, this is a pop culture movie. I got the sense that this is just a sort of teenage comedy. You know, about a typical teenager who has to get a job, and then it gives way into this big sort of plot with Mondo Burger and all that. And by the way, the new villain, or villains rather, no Kurt. No Kurt, not even close. Not even close. You can't beat Kurt. Kurt was freaking insane, and I loved it. He was so, when he kicked that TV in the original, dude. And he retired from acting, so he didn't really make much of a cameo. He made a slight cameo, sort of, kind of, but not really. They did one of those, but yeah, you can't beat Kurt. Kurt was fantastic. So the original just did so much so well, and it's been so much time that some stuff has been a little diluted, but I still think it's a plenty serviceable film. I think your kids will like it. I do. I think they'll like it. I think they'll find it good. If they like the original, then I think they'll like this. And even if they didn't like the original, I think they'll like this. I think it is still fun. For the most part. It's, like I said, I've got issues with it. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you thought about this and the original in the comments below. I will see you guys later. This has been Super Koopa TV. God bless. Have a good one. Peace.